any comments before we play Mr. Hermosillo's testimony?
So Hermosillo was the one that actually cracked the case in Idaho that helped solve it. So, and he actually showed up in the first trial when he wasn't on the witness list. He showed up for support for the family actually in Charles's trial, but then he was a witness in this second trial, and he was there more days than were necessary for him to be there and support them. So he also he gave his CV a little bit at the beginning of his testimony. They didn't go into it. They didn't do it for like a half an hour like they did in Karen Reed trial. They just did like 5 minutes of education and experience. But that was his rookie detective year, 2019. He wasn't promoted to detective until 2019. He solves the case, and now 6 years later, he is the lieutenant in charge of all the detectives in the Rexburg PD.
He's a rock star.
And ladies, if you haven't seen him, he's easy on the eyes.
And he is, and he speaks really clearly. He doesn't embellish with anything. He's just very sort of matter of fact. Like, I thought he was one of the better law enforcement witnesses that I've seen of late. You know, he just lays it out. And I liked that prosecutor too. You know, they just did it very nicely.
Trina K. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So again, Chad, if you have any questions for our panel, just do a QQQ and we'll pull those up. We'll do Hermosillo first, and we'll answer any questions just in case it pertains to that, which I would assume it would. And then we'll go into Special Agent Nick Valance. So without further ado, let me pull this up and let's hit play.
Gmail account when you executed the search warrant back on November 26th.
Yes, so there's a device found in apartment 175 in the garage amongst Alex's personal belongings that still was signed in under the Homer J. Maximus Gmail account. So we were able to confirm that was in fact one of Alex's Gmail accounts.
And were those homerjmaximus@gmail.com records that contained GPS and Wi-Fi mapping information provided to the FBI CAST analyst Nick Valance?
Yes.
And did those records contain data and information, both Wi-Fi, GPS, as well as searches, maps, and other activities for the time range around the shooting on October 2nd of 2019?
Yes, it did.
Did she just hot
Now,
mic
when
Celebrate?
you were looking at these,
What's that?
Did she just hot mic Celebrate?
I heard what are we looking at? You heard Celebrate?
Oh, maybe that's it. Just like 30 seconds ago.
now when
This section or no?
Yeah.
when you were
Was
I
that
think she said Celebrate. I think
Did
she
she?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if I look
when you
closer at
were
the monitor, I can hear
looking
better.
at these, let me ask you this. Did you go through these Google or Gmail records for Homer J. Maximus?
Yes, I was tasked with going through each of the records associated with Homer J. Maximus.
When you obtained those records from Google, did they have an affidavit authenticating them?
They did.
Did you look at those records to see if there were things in there that seemed to be relevant to this investigation for the October 2nd, 2019 shooting?
Yes, I did.
Did they contain things such as searches for places to shoot near Rexburg?
Yes.
Did it contain searches for things like window tint shops?
Yes, it did.
Did it contain searches for things like how to load your own ammunition?
Yes.
Thus, projectiles for long range.
Yes.
Did it have searches for ballistic charts and ballistic trajectory calculators?
Yes.
Did it have searches for Manshot and Gilbert?
Yes.
Were there maps to Dan's window tinting?
There were.
Was there maps and searches for 3875 East Phelps Road in Gilbert, Arizona?
Yes, there were.
When you looked at the timing of those searches and the maps, was there searches for 3875 East Phelps Road in Gilbert, Arizona, both on October 1st in the evening as well as in the morning of October 2nd prior to the shooting?
Yes, there were.
After the time of the shooting at 9:13 or 9:14 a.m. Gilbert time, Arizona time, were there searches for cities and locations in both Arizona as well as Utah and Idaho?
Yes.
Did those searches appear to be a route back to Idaho Falls?
Yes, it appeared they were going north.
Was the last search, in fact, Idaho Falls?
Correct.
So pretty damning right there, all these searches.
Based upon your review of these homerjmaximus@gmail.com documents, did they appear to be related to Alex Cox?
Yes, they did.
The state will move to admit Exhibit 174 pursuant to 803 and 902.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
174 is admitted. 4, right?
174, yes.
I'm surprised there wasn't objection relevance like she did for most of those.
Right.
Foundation.
Yeah. Just relevant, Your Honor.
As part of the documentation that was provided by Google and their authentication, did they provide subscriber information?
Yes, they did.
So we have a subscriber of Alex Cox for the homerjmaximus@gmail.com.
Correct.
Let's start with the Chrome searches for the Homer J. Maximus. Do we see on September 27th a Chrome view for minute of angle?
Yes.
Real quick, Chris, real quick.
Sure.
So refresh my memory again. These are returns that he got from a Google search warrant from Google Corporation. These are not from an extraction, right?
As far as I remember, correct. Yeah.
So that's one thing that I think is different in this case is we saw in the first trial, they didn't take Alex's phone and do an extraction on his phone. They didn't even take Charles's phone. They eventually took Charles's phone, but they did take Brandon's phone, but obviously he wasn't, involved in trying to unalive himself. So that didn't do any good, but they didn't do any extractions on Lori's phone. They didn't take her phone. They didn't take Tylee's phone. So all of these results that we're seeing are returns from search warrants. And then those search warrant are the results of those search warrants from Google and from the cell phone companies for the tower hits were then handed off to Nick Balance when he was asked to be involved.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Just to clarify, these are not from a phone extraction.
Right. So Sam, so far, are you seeing anything that correlates or corresponds to what you do in your everyday? Because there may be people that are watching right now that are not familiar with what what it is that you do.
Right. So I am a licensed private investigator in the state of Florida. I work on criminal defense cases. Primarily, I work on court-appointed cases. But yes, so I see all of the back end of this. Like, I get the cast reports, I get the phone extractions, the downloads for the devices. I get the when they do the search warrant to Google to get all of your account information. I do get all of that to go through, and you would be absolutely stunned to find out how much information and how easy it is for law enforcement to get it, from you. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. So, yeah, they would have gotten to what they did eventually, but finding that device already signed into that account expedited the process of them getting his Google account information.
Okay, awesome. Tanika, do you want to add anything before we continue on? Any thoughts or?
I just want to say I want to piggyback off of what Joe Schmo said, because about not having the extraction, because Lori's going to try to bring that up as a point when we get to the FBI agent, but it would have been richer data, but it doesn't make it any less. So I think just for all of us as lessons, like, log out of your stuff, don't hand over your phone, if don't commit crimes, number one. But I just find it very interesting because they're looking in as if they're you, right? Because they're logged into your device, which is what kind of, in the Adelson case, tripped up Wendy because she thought like WhatsApp is encrypted, but not for you. It's for the outsiders trying to get in. And so they could go into each device as if they were the user. So they saw quite a lot.
But besides that, when they put a warrant into Google, I was going through yesterday and looking at all the things that you would have to have turned off for a Google account for them not to get so much information from you. And I've also been surprised about the same thing with Apple, right? So you think like, oh, here's my phone. I turned off location settings. I put on airplane mode. I did X, Y, and Z. Yet you didn't do what you thought you did, and it's a pretty in-depth topic that to plug my own channel, I'm going to keep exploring as we go further, because my cases are reliant upon this kind of information as well. So,
and it's very relevant to all of these high profile cases we're seeing. It's going to come up in
not even the
Koberger
high
case.
profile.
Right.
Well,
all cases.
I'm gonna